Hello and happy Friday. Mortgage Liz LeFore here with Prime Lending. And today we have our Friday finance tip of the day. And it's really important because we're talking about 401ks and taking money out of the 401ks to be able to purchase our first home. So let's talk about that. 3 tips today about that 401k to find out whether it is something that maybe you would consider. So first things first is our tip number 1. Our 401k we're going to talk about is that let's say we have $50,000 out of that 401k that's in the balance. Do we have the availability of the entire $50,000? Odds are that the answer is no. And the reason for that is that because typically there are regulations within your company to be able to take that money out and taking it out as a loan. And so you have to find out, your tip number 1 is that find out how much is available out of the $50,000 to be able to use for your first home. And then finding that out will figure out where you can be on your calculation for your first home, confirming that you have enough for your down payment and your closing costs with all of your assets. Tip number 2, finding out what the monthly payment would be if you took out that loan for the $20,000 out of the $50,000 that you currently have. Taking out the money from the $20,000, how much is the monthly payment? Because they're not going to just give it to you and not calculate a monthly payment that they're going to take out of your check. So let's say assume the $20,000, they take out $400 is going to be your monthly payment. How are they going to take it out? Is it going to be weekly because you're paid weekly? Is it going to be bi-weekly because you're paid every other week? Or bi-monthly because you're paid every set 2 times in the month? May it be the 10th and the 26th, but you're paid bi-monthly. So with that being said, you want to make sure that you're aware as to how the calculations are going to be run, because you're going to be having to pay the mortgage payment, which is typically going to be higher than what you're paying for rent right now. And then you're going to need to pay that money for the 401k loan, which sometimes we don't think about, but it's going to be taken directly out of your check, and therefore less money will come into your bank account. And you have to calculate that because it's very, very important. And tip number 3, does it make sense? You're going to be taking off those $20,000. They're going to be charging you interest. Yes, you're paying it back to yourself, but that money's also not making money for you anymore. It's not growing 5%, 8%, 12% of what you've already have it set growing. That $20,000 that you're taking off, it's not growing the 5, 8, or 10%, and then you're paying interest, may it be 4%. You're technically losing that difference. So is it an option? Yes. Does it make sense? Maybe, maybe not. You have to run those calculations for yourself, because making sure that that math makes sense is something that you have to do to make sure that you're not losing out on money that you could have really just saved for. What if you saved that down payment through the next 3, 6, 12 months instead of taking it out of your 401k? Because you have to be able to do that tip number 2, which is budget for that $400. And if you can't budget the $400 and the new house payment, then option number 3 is going to be a no. It means that you do not want to take out the money from your 401k because you can't be able to pay for both the house and the 401k. So a lot to think about today here on our Friday Finance Tip, because typical people will tell you, just take it out of the 401k. It's not a big deal. But it is a big deal because there's more to think about than just that small detail of just taking it out. And again, so if you have any questions about this or any one of my other topics, feel free to share this because this is really important information. And I would really appreciate your feedback. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Happy Friday, and we'll talk soon.